Welcome to Evan's Easy Japanese. Here we are, my name is Evan Rogers. I'm teaching you about a new grammar point in Japanese today. This is called the extended predicate. That's what I learned it in college. That's what they call it in the JSL book, Japanese the Spoken Language. It surely has many other names as well. Basically it's ndes or no des. You've probably encountered it. Or occasionally the sentence will just end in no, and that will be the extended predicate. General meaning is, it's that blah 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 blah, and you're explaining a reason with empathically. You're empathically explaining a reason. Translates loosely to, it's that blah 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 blah. You're giving a reason. Let's deconstruct and learn how to do it. Before we begin learning about no des and ndes and no and all those extended predicates, let me first start off by saying this is a tricky one to teach from my end. Basically, if you don't understand everything that I'm saying today, and if it seems like I'm not making enough sense for you, what I want you to get out of this lesson is the basic fact that we're providing a reason for something. That way, when you see it in native Japanese texts, you'll slowly come to understand how to use it and what it means. I want you to be able to identify when you encounter it, and two, basically just the simple fact that that sentence provides on a reasoning behind something. Okay? You're going to see me stutter a little bit in the video because it'll be me thinking a little bit too hard on what I'm about to teach you. But let's just keep on trucking. Here we go. Okay, let's dissect this ndes. You're going to hear me say ndes for the extended predicate. However, on the board I wrote down ex ndes, also could be ex no des. Now really quickly, let's look at this des verb I'm designating as y. Let's look at y. Y, des. This can be in almost any form of des. You can have almost any form of des there. It will change the meaning of the sentence a little bit though, so be careful, don't use the wrong des. It could be plain form, it could be past tense form, it could be plain past, it could be negative, it could be the desho or the daro and things like that. It can be almost any form of des. Interestingly, if we have a de there, the te form of the plain form of de, we encounter no de. Taberu no de, which is, if I put a link here properly, the no de form of a sentence, which is the te form of the extended predicate, which means because of, or being that X is the case. Okay? Now let's look at X. X is a sentence. It can end in a noun, a verb, or an adjective. We've encountered a lot of things like that lately. Generally, X is in the plain form. I'm sure it can be in the polite form as well, just that we're being exceedingly polite. When you have da, as you know, des turns into the plain form da or de aru, generally we use na. Okay? Generally we use na. Don't use da, turn da into na. Okay? Great. And once again, just to reiterate one more time before we jump to the next slide, this translates to, it's that X. It's that X is the case. You just asked me something, and because we both kind of have this general feeling of an emotion behind what we're talking about, it's that X. It's X. It's X. It's X. It's X. Kind of feeling. That's sort of what we're communicating with this no des, this ndes. Alright, okay, let's look at a few situations where the des is in a strange form, okay? So, ex ndes, it's X. I'm explaining to you emphatically, with empathy that it's X. Ex no des. These are essentially the same. This one, however, is more polite. The no is more polite, more formal, a little bit more polished up. Ex nda, ending these patterns with da at the end is a bit blunt, especially nda, especially nda. It's almost like, dude, what the heck's the matter with you? Like, oh, ikunda, we're going, sort of you're saying. No matter what you feel like, we're going. Ikunda, it's that we're going. And you're being quite blunt about it. Ex no da is less blunt than ex nda, okay? X no, if we just end it with no and leave off the da at the end, it's still plain form, it's still casual speak. However, you have to be careful as a man because this can be construed as female speech regularly. It's not strictly for women, however, it frequently is used by women. However, there's a rule to every exception, or there's an exception to every rule. It's not, ending it with no is giving a reason and an explanation in some way. It can be seen as gentle, so it can be kind of on the girly-ish side. However, not always. I hear regularly men using the ending in no. It's definitely less blunt than nda or no-da, so just so you're aware that that exists. And if you really want to make it blunt, throw a yo at the end. Ikunda! We're getting out of here, jerk, and then you smack him across the face or something. Not necessarily that blunt, but it's pretty blunt, adding the yo at the end there. If you definitely want to sound like a girl, for any ladies out there, if you end x no, and then you add the particle wa at the end, this is not always for females, but it's generally for feminine speech. This is much softer than saying, you know, ikunda. It's iku no wa is I just instantaneously put a female voice to it. It's a more feminine way of saying it's that we're going to be going, or you know, asking for, giving an explanation that, you know, it's that we're going. Iku no yo, iku no wa, and things like that. It's more gentle. Once again, this is a little bit difficult to explain. I hope that you're following this a little bit. Blunt, but less blunt. Not blunt, less blunt than this. This is more blunt than that. In fact, this is quite blunt. This is less blunt than that, but still blunt. This is less blunt than these two. However, we can end it with wa to make it even less blunt. It's a very strange thing that we're encountering. The more you encounter it, the more you'll figure it out. Let's continue. Let's say that we're at a bookstore. I'm holding a book, and you see me looking at it. Before I choose to buy it, maybe you'll hear me say something like, takai desu ne, to a friend. Let's say that you're my homeboy, and for some reason I'm using distal style, polite form of speech with you. Hello, my fellow homeboy, doth thee... No, anyway, I'm holding a book, it looks expensive, you're my friend, or, you know, you're an acquaintance that I know, and I'm looking at the book and I'm like, takai desu ne. Oh, it's expensive, isn't it? Then you sort of look at it and you say, takai desu ne. We both agree that it's expensive. But it's a good book and I really want that book. In fact, I've been talking about this book for a week now. So, later, we break apart and we're looking at books and we both leave. I didn't buy anything, you didn't buy anything. But you're asking me, wait, what about that book? Geez, what about that book? You've been talking about it all week. Then I'll kind of respond with, well, takai desu. It's that it's expensive. Remember how we talked about it's expensive? Oh, God, it's expensive, so I didn't buy it. It is that it's expensive. Takai desu kedo, takai desu ga. It's that it's expensive, so I couldn't buy it. I chose not to buy it because the reasoning is, the explanation is, with empathy, ooh, it's expensive, ooh. So, that's sort of the usage of this. Before you buy it, you might say something like, takai desu ne. Oh man, it's expensive, isn't it? Takai desu ne. Then afterwards you might say something like, takai desu kara, or takai desu. It's that it's expensive, so I didn't buy it. And things like that. That's an explanation of how to use this in some real sense of the term. Let's continue a little bit more. I want to talk about how this could be actually rude to use. Be careful when you're using it. Okay, so giving an explanation can sometimes be rude. In fact, that can happen very frequently. Imagine somebody, a customer of your company's is coming off the plane after a 14-hour flight, and instead of saying, you must be tired, instead of saying that, you look at the guy and say, oh man, You gotta be tired. Can you feel the difference in how I said that? Oh, you must be tired. Let's get you to a hotel. Oh man, you've got to be tired to a hotel. Which one of those seems ruder? Well, from my intonation, you can guess that me saying, oh man, you've got to be tired. But let's think about why that's rude. You take a look at the guy, and you say to him, oh man, you've got to be tired. You've got to be tired, don't you? What does that imply? The guy's just looking like a mess. His hair's all astrew. He's drooping his sack and he's carrying luggage. Oh God. You might not want to say that to the guy. Dude, you look like you were hit by a train. How about we get you a hotel and clean yourself up? Yeesh. That would be a case in which we wouldn't want to use the ndes form. So be careful with it. That make sure that when you're giving an explanation, the basis of the explanation isn't, dude, you suck. Okay, just section of this segment for the extended predicate. Let's take a look at situations where you might screw up on accident. We're going to go from a polite sentence, a mas sentence, and transform it into a plain sentence, a casual sentence, a dictionary sentence, okay? Let's look at these sentences. Sensei no desu ka? Sensei no desu ka? Translates to, is it the teachers? Is that the teachers? Is that thing that we're talking about, the teachers? Sensei no, the teachers. Desu ka? Is it the teachers? Which one of these plain form is the... Which one of these plain forms is the... is this? Which one of these is this sentence? Is it sensei no? Or is it sensei na no? Hopefully you said this one. These two are the same, but with different politeness levels. Sensei no, is it the teachers? However here, sensei na no, this translates to, that you're a teacher? Oh, is that the teacher? Oh, is that the teacher? Oh, okay, is that the teacher? Is it that? This is more like, sensei na no desu ka? Sensei nan desu ka? Sensei nan desu ka? Is that the teachers? So be careful when we're dealing with that. If we want to turn this into the polite way, it would be sensei na. We could use n or no desu ka. Sensei na no desu ka? Sensei nan desu ka? Alright, one more. Next, last, this is just still more confusion that might exist with the no particle. Eventually there will be a video, hopefully it'll be right here, that has the no particle, which is the nominalization no. I've already mentioned it once, either in this video or other videos. When the sentence ends in an E adjective and the extended predicate, because it looks just like an E adjective followed by the nominalizing no, which gets some confusion when translating from Japanese. For example, if we write down takai no and takai no, these are both different. They're different, but they're the same. It doesn't matter which one we pick. There's no real pronunciation. Takai no, takai no, takai no. This one, let's say, means the expensive one. Whereas this one means, is it that it's expensive? Is it that it's expensive? But Evan, those are exactly the same. Yeah, I know. I know. Just, it could, in context, this can mean takai no, the expensive one. Are we talking about the expensive one? Takai no, is it expensive? Takai no na no. What? Takai no na no? Takai no na no? This is the nominalizing no followed by the extended predicate in plain form. Takai no na no. Is it that we're talking about the expensive one? Is it that that's the expensive one? Is it that it's the expensive one? Basically, the last message here is be careful when translating this because it could be the nominalizing no and not the extended predicate if it's in plain form. Alright, hopefully you've learned something in this video. Have yourself a great day. Good luck.